Hello, welcome and welcome back to another episode of On the Trail with Gyver. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about trekking poles and walking sticks. Pros and cons. What's the difference? Is there a difference? Does it make a difference? All that kind of good stuff. I've used both for years, switching back and forth depending on what I was doing. And let's go ahead and take a closer look at them together. So what I have with me today is a walking stick that I've had for quite a while and a pair of trekking poles I've also had for quite a while. Let's go ahead and take a look at trekking poles first. Now, trekking poles themselves come in many different varieties made out of different types of materials. The most common types of trekking poles that I encounter are trekking poles that are made out of aluminum, like these. And I've also seen trekking poles that are made out of carbon fiber. These trekking poles are what's known as side locks, where when you adjust them, you lock them in place with a lock. Trekking poles also come in a twist lock variety, where once you get it adjusted to the proper height, then you twist it to get it to lock in place. I personally have not had a lot of luck with twist locks lasting a long time. They tend to break the easiest. Some of them can be easy to repair, other ones not so much. I've got a couple of broken twist locks at home that I have, but don't ever use. These trekking poles have a cork grip on them, and then also kind of like a neoprene type cushiony grip also. The idea behind the two grips is depending on your terrain. If I am going up a steep hill or a mountain, and I don't want to adjust my trekking pole to be a shorter length, which will help me climb the steep incline better, I can just switch from using the cork grip down to this cushiony part here. So I can essentially choke up on the trekking pole, use it to get up the steep incline without having to adjust the length and then readjust it when I'm back on level ground. Super helpful. This particular model also comes with a very wide wrist strap. And underneath this rubber cap on the bottom is a metal spike, which can help when you are crossing snow and ice. This particular brand and model also came with a series of different end caps, I guess you can call them. That's what I'm going to call them. They screw onto the bottom, and they just help the trekking pole from sinking too far in. These ones, being a little bit smaller, are good for muddy trails and terrain, where I've got some bigger ones that are meant more for snow and ice. They look like, what you would find on a ski pole. Baskets, that's what they're called. It's called a basket. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to adjust trekking poles to fit you. So a lot of trekking poles will have measurements along one of the sides of them, maybe sometimes on both. And I use these to help me remember where, to adjust to and then lock into place. And both sections have them on there. So when it comes to adjusting trekking poles, I don't like having it super long on the bottom and super short on the top. And I don't like having it super long on top and super short on the bottom. I look to try and get them as even as possible. I don't know if there's anything really behind it. I just like the balance of it. But ideally, what I'm going for is, the overall height. When I've got this adjusted correctly, my arm and elbow will form as close to a 90-degree angle as possible. This is a little bit off, but to me it is comfortable. Having your arm and elbow making that 90-degree angle helps with stability and comfort. If I'm way far down trying to use the trekking pole, or if I'm way up on it after a long hike, it can tire my arm. Most of the time, I will only use one trekking pole at a time. But if I know I'm going to be on really rough terrain, a lot of hills, ups and downs, some places where I might be crossing a creek or a stream and I want some balance, I might bring two of them with me. And, I adjust them the same, 9 degrees, both arms, and I'm good to go. A lot of hikers will call this four-legged walking. And, it really does help, especially on longer hikes. A couple mile hikes, easy trails, you're probably only going to see me using one. So that's really all I can think about when it comes to using trekking poles. Like I said, variety of styles, different ways of adjusting, side locks, twist locks. I have come across ones that have a bungee in them and they break down almost like a tent pole. I personally have never used them. I don't know much about them. I know the ones I've seen, they tend to be a fixed length, not a lot of adjustability in height. But like I said, I've never used them. If you have, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think about the trekking poles that have the bungee type material going through them that you break down and fold up like you would a tent pole. If you use them, let me know what you think about them. And now I want to talk about walking sticks. Very similar to a trekking pole. They also do come in a lot of different lengths, different types of weights. Some can be heavier, some can be lighter. And, this is really just a modified version of a stick you might find at the trailhead that you use, to help you through your hike. This one, as I said before, I've had it for a long time. I've had lots of times to customize it. What I've done with this particular walking stick, and this one is made out of a lighter wood. I couldn't tell you what kind, but it is a lighter material. Just like my trekking poles, does have a rubber cap on the bottom. Underneath is a metal spike, which helps me with snow and ice. I have added on what are called hiking medallions. Each one of these represent a different place or trail that I've hiked on. And as I hike on new ones, if they've got a medallion I can find, I add to it. Each one of these tell a story. And when you're hiking with people, friends or people you've just met, stories are what it's all about. And each one of these I could sit down with you and tell you the story behind it. What I've also done with this walking stick is I've taken some 550 paracord and I've wrapped it around, the upper section here to create myself a handle and a wrist strap. I didn't mention it with the trekking poles, but wrist straps on walking sticks and trekking poles come in handy. You know, take your loop, put your hand through the bottom of the loop, and that way, if you were to, let go, trekking pole, walking stick sides of your hands, it's not going to go very far. You're not going to lose it. What I also have on the top of my walking stick is a little fishing kit. If you've seen some of my other videos, I do a lot of stuff with Grim Workshop gear. These are 3 tools I got from their website. One is a fishing lure. The other one is a spool for fishing line. And I've got one in here that's got a series of hooks on them. But that is clipped on and tied to the upper section of my walking stick. When I'm choosing between the two, it really just comes down to how I'm feeling for the day. There are some days where I like the look and feel of having the walking stick. And then there are other days where the lightweight and flexibility of the trekking pole is really what I'm going for. I have no rhyme or reason behind it. Just whichever one I feel like for the day, and I grab it. But whichever one, we choose, there is a lot of benefit behind having something with you, trekking pole or walking stick, when you're going for a hike. I've put these between branches and tied things to it, used them as, almost like a makeshift clothesline or to hang stuff up with. If I've, this walking stick in particular, when I was down in Virginia visiting a friend, we were going on a pretty tricky trail. And this hiking stick, I was able to reach up to my friend and have him grab onto and help me up a particular steep rock climb. And we could have easily have done that with a trekking pole as well. I just happened to have the walking stick with me that day. So they come in handy. Balance, I do a lot of trails with sketchy creek crossings, river crossings, and just like we see the tightrope walker using something to help him balance, walking sticks and trekking poles, they work just the same and can help you out. Or just, after a long, tired day and you want something, you can just kind of, lean on and, rest your head on. They both work just as well. So that's really all I have for you today. I'm going to talk about walking sticks and trekking poles. I just want to take this time, thank all of my subscribers. You guys really do, give me the motivation to keep making these videos. I can't thank you enough. If you see something you like, please like this video, leave a comment. If you leave a comment with a suggestion on a topic for another video and I use it, I will give you a shout out during that video. If you like my channel, please subscribe, and hit that bell so you can get all the notifications when I post new content. I also have a podcast that you can go right over to and take a listen to as well. So just want to say thank you, joining me today on this episode of On the Trail with Gyver. God bless, and I hope to see you on the trail.